in fact, which I will start again now that we're back from vacation, is set aside a couple minutes each day, literally, to do planks. I mean, literally, you can start with 30 seconds a day.
Yeah.
Welcome back to part 2 of our zapping belly fat extravaganza.
Oh my God.
Which sounds like plastic surgery, but it's not. So in part 1, if you'll remember, we talked about dietary changes that you can make, cleansing, if you will, after indulgence, whether it's vacation or parties or holidays or whatever you know, if you've become a little more well-rounded around the middle or even in other parts of your body, this is a good way to arms, hips, buttocks, whatever you face, whatever it is. If you want to get rid of excess fat, but particularly belly fat, this is hopefully going to help you.
Mm-hmm. So we talked more about the dietary changes that can help, right? But I think one of the biggest contributor to reducing belly fat really is fasting, which is your favorite topic.
My other favorite topic.
Start rambling again.
Well, so I'll ramble for a little bit, but then the rest is your favorite.
I know.
Okay, so so this is very dependent on what you're used to. If you've never fasted before, please listen to our other podcast series about introduction to intermittent fasting.
Just search for fasting on our website and you should be able to find those podcasts.
Start off slow if you've never done it before, and you know, it's not easy, but it's simple. One of my favorite words. So consider starting your fasting regimen. Now is a good time as any if you're looking to reduce your belly fat. If you are used to fasting already, you might want, you know, obviously what I'm doing is getting back into my normal routine of 18 to 20 hours during the weekdays, but you might want to consider doing a longer fast once or twice over the next couple of weeks. So there are regimens for doing, like, believe it or not, a 30 to 40 hour fast, which can be very good for attacking that more stubborn belly fat, I guess, and also for kind of resetting your body back into the metabolism rate that it was before you went on vacation or before the holidays started.
Do you remember we had mentioned this a while back about this group that we were helping out with weight loss, and they were doing 3, 4, 5, even 10 days of complete fast,
other than
nothing else but water.
Right.
That's it. Some of the hardcore ones were just having water, not even like a salted limbu pani.
Yeah,
which sometimes I wonder.
We're not sure about that, but I mean, it's safe. Again, if it's run by your doctor, it is safe.
Can you imagine doing it for 10 days?
No. The longest I've ever gone was 48 hours, and that was a struggle, although interestingly enough, at the end, you feel very clear in your head. And I think that's a great topic for a future podcast is intermittent fasting and mental health. But I can say I definitely noticed that at the end. But anyway, remember a couple members, what they would do is they would weigh themselves after the holidays or after vacation and say, oh gosh, I put on 5 kilos. And some of them, believe it or not, would fast until that weight came off
to the same number again.
We don't recommend, but it is, if that's your thing and you feel comfortable doing that and as your doctor's cleared it, it's okay to do it. But I think that's rather extreme, but it does work.
It works the fastest. So out of these 3 methods that we're talking about, diet, fasting, and exercise, number 2, fasting, is the quickest, fastest.
And just to keep in mind, with that method of like letting yourself reduce kilos until you're back down to your origin, once you start eating again, you will pick up a kilo or 2. It's not like it's going to stay off. However, it's going to kind of do the restart switch, and it will be easier to get the rest of the weight off after that.
And also keep in mind that since we're talking about fasting, I know we may have mentioned this earlier about weighing yourself, etc. And I know I'm not as guilty of it as compared to Dr. Jenny, which is she weighs herself every day, which is the wrong thing to do.
Right, once a week is better.
She just gets paranoid and she weighs herself every day. And
not paranoid as much as interested.
Academic interest.
Yeah.
Right.
For science.
For science, right. No, actually she's paranoid. The reason why we do not recommend weighing yourself every day is because most of the weight that fluctuates in the body during the day is water weight. Because as you drink water, you put on water in your cells, or as you breathe out moisture, so the water weight comes out. Water fluctuation causes a lot of fluctuation in your weight itself. So therefore, we advise you to, at the most frequent, I would say at least, wait for a week. Okay, fine, maybe 3-4 days, but don't do it on a daily basis. And that to weigh in the same scale, same time, every single day. Don't change the timing. Or like if you're wearing a set of type of clothes, you should always be wearing that same type of clothes. Just FYI. Okay, I just wanted to mention that, about a little tip about weighing yourself. Sorry, I know
You digress.
digressed. Yeah.
Yes. So moving on from fasting,
Yeah.
I think that's the general gist of
Yeah.
what we wanted to get across. Now let's talk about exercise. As Ajoy always says, and as science always says, really majority of the changes you will see, particularly with weight loss and belly fat, is from diet and or fasting. However, exercise has lots of excellent benefits.
Correct.
You want to take it away?
Yeah, I just want to start with the study.
Oh, imagine that.
So
we do appreciate your studies, after all.
Right. Sure. But nobody wants to listen to my studies, but I'm going to tell them anyway. So there was a study. I think last count, there were like 15 or so studies I could pull up in PubMed. Now these are all peer-reviewed journal articles. These are not corroboration or what is the word? Correlational studies. These are actual studies where they took two sets of patients. One got treatment X, one got treatment Y. Treatment X got reduced weight, and treatment Y did not reduce weight.
Randomized control.
So we call them RCT, or randomized control trials. And in these studies, at least the 15 is the number that I have on my computer, but I'm sure I can dig out even more. Every one of them says the same thing. Diet makes the maximum difference. Exercise does not make as much of a difference. However, that does not mean you skip exercise entirely. All right. So
I can tell you, just using it, and maybe you were about to say that. Sorry. In my case, even with my fasting and my mostly plant-based, whole food plant-based diet, if I don't add in my exercise, I can't get to my goal just feeling good, basically.
Yeah.
So that's very imperative, for me, and I'm sure for a lot of our listeners out there.
Yeah. And, just stepping back just a little bit, we had talked about, remember what we talked about in terms of what is in the belly? So we talked about the fat in the belly, and we talked about muscle in the belly, the looser muscles in the belly. So the fat in the belly, we already said that diet can control. And muscles also, not the diet cannot control that. I mean, we only talked about protein as a help towards building a little bit more muscle and improving the musculature.
I just want to interrupt you because I thought I needed to share this with everyone. While we were recording just now, we had to pause because our 4-year-old asked for a snack, as they do, and maybe I should be a better pediatrician mom and offer better snacks. I offered him some of the local, relatively healthy cookies that they sell that I had in the cupboard. No, Amma, he said, I want an apple. So we should all follow the example of our very wise 4-year-old, and an excellent snack is an apple. High fiber, low sugar. It has a low glycemic index, if you remember that from our other podcasts, and it's tasty and yummy. So good job, Fihan.
So
anyway, sorry.
No, that's okay. I know that was important. So we were talking about what is in the belly, right? So we already said that belly has fat and belly has muscle. So let's start talking about how do we attack the fat first. All right. So attacking the fat, if you recall again from elementary biochemistry, I'm so sorry I have to go back to it because
I'm cringing. You can't see me.
I think it's important to go back to the basics and understand why this is the case, right? So if you remember elementary biochemistry, fat is, we say fat is being burnt. Why do we say fat is being burnt? You know why? Because it needs oxygen. Just like fire needs oxygen, fat needs oxygen to burn. You cannot burn fat. Well, you can technically, but it takes a lot of effort to burn fat anaerobically, meaning without oxygen. But with oxygen, it burns very quickly. So therefore, aerobic exercise can help. And I already had mentioned to you that workouts with aerobic exercise will need one essential component, and that is
Water.
Right.
Water?
Water.
Water.
Yes, you need water, right? So you need water, you need oxygen, and fat will burn. Okay, so when you're doing aerobic exercise, make sure you're very well hydrated, and you just do your aerobic exercise. Now you might be wondering, what kind of aerobic exercises do we recommend? So I'm going to go through a list of like easiest to hardest exercises. Pick whatever works for you. They really are meant for people with very little ability to people with very good ability, and because as you gain in ability, you have to do more and more. Unfortunately, that's just the way it works, but it's very, gives you results really well. So the first one is, you can just slowly walk. I mean, when I say slow, I don't mean like a ambling. I mean like just walking as if you have a
Walking
purpose.
comfortably.
Yeah, walking comfortably. But these walks should be very long. They should be like 10 to 15 kilometers. So if you cannot do 10 to 15 kilometers, start with 1 or 2 kilometers, right? I mean,
Work
1 or
your
2
way up.
kilometers, and work your way up, right? And once you get to the 10 to 15 kilometer range, you will start seeing that actually it helps with your belly fat. The next one up is one of my favorites, which is what I do all the time, which is high, and I know I messed it up last time. High intensity interval, again I messed it up again. High intensity interval training, HIIT, which is you alternate walking and jogging, so, or running in my case. So I walk very slowly for a minute, and then I run very fast for a minute. Then again I walk for a minute, then run again for a minute. So I alternate that, and that's supposed to be very, very effective. And the easier method there is to walk very fast and walk very slow. So instead of running, you can simply substitute it for walking fast. And apparently, unfortunately for me, studies have shown that it's just as effective as what I do. Okay.
Yeah, and HIIT doesn't have to be just running and
Yes,
walking.
yes.
It can be other exercises. It can be, which I think you're about to get into, jumping jacks,
Yeah,
or
correct. I was about to say that.
jumping jacks, running in place.
Running in place.
Thing that I hate.
Mountain climbers.
Yeah,
but that's very difficult, Jenny.
No, but I mean, okay, or more advanced.
More advanced. Okay, more advanced people can do mountain climbers.
Yeah.
If you know what that is, great. If you don't know, it's very hard to describe.
Squats. Yeah, these are some of the more advanced ones. So you do a certain period of time of more difficult, whether for you,
Yeah,
more difficult for you exercise. It doesn't just have to be running, and then you slow it down by walking or walking in place or marching in place or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's especially, I think we mentioned this before, if you have a heart rate tracker, you can see like a seesaw pattern. You see it go up, then come down, go up, then come down, and that's what you're really looking for.
Yeah. And finally, last but not least, is just simply running or swimming, like at length, and
or bike riding.
Or bike riding, actually. And these things, if you notice, look at the cyclists that bicycle for miles, or you look at the runners that go for miles, you'll never find them with belly fat. Never.
Really, no fat.
No fat. Yeah. Not just.
They're
belly
just
fat.
muscle. They're lean.
Just, very, lean more than muscle. They're more lean, right?
Yeah.
So now that we talked about attacking the fat, let's talk about attacking the muscles. Before we talk about attacking the muscles, do you want to, like, since you're the doctor in the house, can you talk about? Oh my God! Can you please tell us about the anatomy of the abdominal muscles, please?
Sure. So there's the main abdominal muscles are the rectus abdominis,
which is what everybody sees when you say
which is the
abs.
6-pack, 4-pack, whatever. And then more internal and probably more important are the psoas muscles, which I think is what you're getting at.
Well, I was thinking more in terms of the transverse abdominis, which is going across from one side to the other. Psoas muscles go deep
up
inside,
and
up and down, deep inside, right? Those are also very good. Psoas muscles, okay, sorry, I'm taking over here.
Go for it. That's okay. I was just naming them.
I know you, okay.
I actually don't know where you're going with it, so go for it.
No, okay, what I was going with it is that whenever you see people with quote-unquote abs, what you see are the muscles called rectus abdominis. Great. Okay, they go up and down from your chest to the lower part of your abdomen. And
they're more superficial.
And they're right on top. So they're very superficial and you can see them. Just as important are muscles that go across, just directly behind them, therefore you don't see them, are muscles that go directly behind them in almost like a semicircular pattern. Okay? And those muscles really hold everything together. So if you don't have good musculature, your belly, whatever is there in the belly will protrude, right? So if you try to tighten these muscles,
don't forget the obliques.
So the obliques are, basically think of it as a basket. You basically obliques also kind of like help the three types of muscle: the vertical, the horizontal, and the obliques hold everything together tightly.
Which are like the diagonal muscles.
Right, the diagonal. And the obliques are the ones. If you want to see what the obliques look like, just put your elbows down, and exactly where the elbows touch your abdomen is where the obliques begin, and they go down towards your navel. Okay, just wanted to mention that. So we are really talking about the first two, rectus abdominis and the transverse abdominis, that you really need to target. And the way to target is yoga. Yeah, and in yoga there are a bunch of asana that you can do that will specifically target this. And I'm going to again go from easy to hard. The first one is downward facing dog, which in Sanskrit is Adho Mukha Svanasana, which will help keep the abdomen like against the gravity. You're basically holding the abdomen up. Next one, a little bit tougher, is Surya Namaskar, which everybody knows. And
sun salutation.
Sun salutation or Surya Namaskar. And Surya Namaskar, there are lots of exercises that actually will be actually part of the next one that I'm going to talk about.
And there's lots of modifications of Surya Namaskar too. I think that's important to know, because the traditional one is quite difficult. But if you start with a modified one that's simpler, then you can work up to the more
difficult. You can even look up chair Surya Namaskar. Did you know that? There's a chair Surya Namaskar, which I found very fascinating. For people with lesser ability, you can do a chair Surya Namaskar. And then the next one is one of my favorite anyway, Chaturanga Dandasana.
Speak for yourself. It's very difficult for me.
I like Chaturanga Dandasana because it really is like it's even better than just a regular plank, which I'll come to in a second. And then, advancing from that is Sarvangasana, which is basically an upside down pose where you're holding up your body with on the crux of your elbow and pushing your back up. And then the last one, of course, the most difficult, which I'm having a hard time these days, is Shirshasana, which is a headstand. Again, you make a triangle with your head and the elbow corners, and you go upside down.
That's probably one of the most excellent. It really uses every single one of your abdominal muscles.
And so that's for the eyes.
In addition to other benefits. But for abs, that one's excellent.
So I've given a big list of yoga poses that you can take advantage of. The next one are regular gym exercises, which again I'll go rather quickly because you can always look them up, based on what we are saying, or I think we have some videos on this that we have done ourselves, and there are some. I think you were published in one of the newspapers, right? About doing some of the exercises for
quarantine exercises.
Quarantine exercises, right? So again, I'm going from easy to hard. The first one is a knee up. You just stand and bring your knee as far up as possible. Put it down. Bring the next knee up as far as possible and put it down, and so on. And keep doing that. That's a fairly easy one to do. Then the next one is kneeling plank, which is basically you go down on all fours and slowly, whenever you get a chance, keep your knees in place, but move your arm forward, maybe like 3, 4, 5 inches, and wait. And then again move it forward another 3, 4, 5 inches till you get to a point where you cannot move forward anymore and stop. Okay. Because if you cannot do a regular plank, just stop right there and then again back off, and every 3, 4 inches come back and go to a kneeling position and get up, stand up again. The next one is regular plank, which basically is you lie down on your stomach, put your hands right next to your, I guess, chest
and shoulders,
and then push up and be in a straight line, but at an angle from the ground. So in other words, your toes are touching the ground, and you're at an angle coming upwards.
It's probably best to Google these if you don't know them, because it's a little difficult to describe them.
Describe it.
But you should look like a plank of wood.
And then the next one is elbow to arm plank, which is basically you're doing the same thing. Instead of doing just the arm, you get down on your elbows and get back on the arms. Get back on the elbows and get back on the arms a couple of times. And that's a little bit more taxing on your abs.
Yeah, and what I like to do with planks is, in fact, which I will start again now that we're back from vacation, is set aside a couple minutes each day, literally, to do planks. I mean, literally, you can start with 30 seconds a day. Yeah. Have your kids do it with you.
It's a lot of fun with kids.
Do it if you're watching TV during a commercial break or whatever. But try to work up the amount of time you can hold the plank, and you'll be amazed at how much better you feel and how fast you can increase your plank time.
There's a little trick. I don't know if you've tried this or not. While watching TV, just be at right angles to the TV and do a plank and look at the TV and keep watching it, and you will be surprised.
If you're distracted,
you're distracted, and you like suddenly you realize that, oh my God, I've done a plank for a minute. So you could do that. The next one attacks the obliques, the ones that you mentioned earlier, the serratus muscles, and that is by doing a side plank where you get on the side and you just basically stand up, or at an angle again, with one arm on the floor and the outer edge of the same arm side of the foot on the floor. And the next one is absolutely my favorite, which is one of the most effective exercises you can do, but it's a little hard. But you can start at just doing 6 or 8 inches, which is using one of those. Have you seen those ab wheel thingies?
Or ab roller.
Ab roller, ab wheel, whatever you want to call it. So start in a kneeling position and keep pushing the wheel forward. But one of the tricks I would like to mention to you is do it against a wall or something, so that you give it only a few inches till the time you feel more comfortable that you can actually go completely flat on the floor and then get back up. So that's how it should be. You push the ab wheels all the way forward. Next one is harder still, which is if you have a pull-up bar, you hang from it and then do knee ups, one knee at a time first. When it's
hang with your arms.
Hang with your. What did I say?
You said hanging, but
hang with your arms.
You can hang with your legs too. Hang with your arms.
Yes. Hang with your arms and do knee ups. First one knee at a time, and then subsequently as you progress, you can do both knees at the same time. Last but not least, the most effective is hanging leg ups, where you hanging and then you straighten out your legs and bring them up exactly at a right angle and bring them back down. And of course, if you are capable, bring them all the way up to your arms or your hands. So these are all the types of exercises I just wanted to mention to you. So would you like to recap what all stuff we've said, so that kind of gives you
an idea? Between parts 1 and 2, in part 1 we talked about what belly fat actually is and why it's there. We talked about in part 1 what dietary changes you can make, mostly temporary in this case, although we hope you continue them, though maybe not as strict. But if you do a quick 3 to 4 week cleanse after your indulgence, that should help you get back on track to a more modified, we hope, whole food plant-based diet. Fasting is something to consider if you really want to get results fast.
So fasting, I just want to mention that if you are just not, you're so fond of, like not wanting to do a whole food plant-based diet, those people should consider it a little bit more.
Right? If it's difficult at the time, at least, to give up either dairy and or meat or seafood or eggs, then try fasting. That can give you results also. And of course, the combination of both is even better, but that takes some time to work up to. And then finally, we talked about types of exercise that we recommend for eventually getting rid of your belly fat. But we understand it takes some time and some effort.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's a ongoing struggle, but I'm sure the good part is as you improve your metabolism. One thing I have to say, believe it or not, it gets better. It becomes easier. As you improve your metabolism and your metabolic rate is higher, getting rid of the belly fat is easier.
Right, and he means with each quote unquote slip up. So we've been doing this for a while now, and the good part is it allows you to enjoy yourself during vacation or holidays or at a party, because you realize it's okay, I can get back on track. My body will recover. It's okay to indulge and be human every once in a while. Otherwise, you live your life wondering what if or missing out on things. And we don't want you. We want you to be happy. So yeah.
On that note,
be happy.
Yep.
And we will happily roam around and meet you in our next episode of Circee Health Pod. We really hope you enjoyed our conversation. Can you think about one thing or an idea that you can start to introduce into your own life that will help make your life healthier and less stressful?
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you can take a few seconds to share the podcast with your friends and families. Thank you so much for listening.
And always remember, your health is literally in your own hands. Making lifestyle changes is not an easy task, but we promise you will be aptly rewarded with a long, healthy, and disease-free life.